All right, so to cut out our photo frame. Now you could decide, depending on the photo that you choose, to be either a vertical photo or a horizontal photo. It doesn't really matter in regards to how you look at the journal. Either way, it's going to be vertical or horizontal. Now, the 5 3/4 by 3 3/4 is a little bit smaller than the standard photo size. A standard photo size print is 4 by 6 or 6 by 4, depending on how you're looking at it. So this would be the piece of paper that you get printed at the store, 5 3/4 by 3 3/4. Well, the 4 by 6 is going to be a little bit bigger by 1/8 of an inch. All right, you can see 1/8 of an inch of the photo all the way around. What that allows you to do is once you cut out the window, okay, once we cut this window out, which is what I'm going to demonstrate in a minute, it allows you overlap. Okay, so you can see 1/8 of an inch overlap here. You can see 1/8 of an inch overlap here. And if I go on the short side, I can see 1/8 of an inch overlap there and there. So that allows me on the other side to tape this down so that when I cut the window out, it'll show through, and I have the ability to tape it on without it kind of pushing through the middle. All right, so let's cut the window out. So what you're going to need, first of all, you got your chipboard cover, you get your ruler, and you're going to be using an X-Acto knife. Now, the X-Acto knives, some of them have covers on them, some of them don't. This is more of a safety demonstration than it is a demonstration on how to cut a window. In fact, it's both, but it's most importantly a safety demonstration. The X-Acto blades are basically razors. They will cut you. They will cut you deep. You will most likely need stitches if you use it incorrectly. But if you use it how I'm showing you here, you will have the most success possible. All right? So first and foremost, the little cover on here, all right, you can see the little cover. There's a little opening, like there's a little plastic opening on the cover, right? Now, obviously, I want to pinch this and pull the handle out. I don't want to hold my fingers here when I pull it out, because if you look, you see that angled side of the blade, that's the sharp side. So if I pull that thing out along that thumb, I'm probably going to cut myself. So you can see the flat part of either side here. I just pinch here and just lightly pull it out. Now, this is the sharp side of the blade. All right, one of the things you never want to do when you're cutting is hold it differently than you would a pencil. All right, so when you hold in X-Acto, you want to hold it as if you're holding a regular pencil. And you're not going to press, depending on what you're cutting, right? You're not going to press any harder than you would just trying to cut through. You're going to make multiple cuts to get through this chipboard cover. If I'm using a thin piece of copy paper like this, and I hold on to it here, and I always want to cut away from any fingers or body parts, and I just press and I cut along that line, you can see that it gives me a nice clean cut. It goes right through. Okay? You never want to have your fingers here, right? Because you can see if I'm cutting here and holding the paper, I'm going to go right across my fingers. That's never a good idea. I always want to cut along the edge of the ruler. Since I'm cutting out a rectangular window, I'm going to always put my ruler on the side of the artwork. Okay, in this case, the frame is outside of this. This is going to get thrown away. So what I want to do is I want to line up my ruler on the pencil line. Okay, I can see it stops here and starts there. Now when I cut, I'm just going to hold it like I showed you before. Just going to hold it. Look at how I'm holding the ruler. All right, I got my fingers like a bridge or like an L. I'm pressing down at the top and the bottom. If I press here and I try to draw a line, that ruler could move. So if I'm holding it with a bridge, with my fingers like a bridge, right on that pencil line, nice and tight, I want to cut, you see the angle of the blade? I want to cut with the angle of the blade this way. So let me show you. All right. The angle of the blade, I want to pull this way. I don't want to be on an angle this way or that way. I want the blade to be straight up and down, and I can even have my hand resting on the flat plane as I pull that across that line. I don't need to be up here. I don't want to be on an angle or twisted or leaning. All right, so if we're looking at it like this, I don't want the blade to be this way or this way. I want it to be straight across and then pulling down to create the mark. So again, line up the ruler so it's right on the pencil line. If it's a little bit smaller, like covering the pencil line, that's fine. I'm going to start right at the horizontal here and end at the horizontal there. So I just put it in and just start and stop. Start at the line, end at the line. And I'm not pressing hard, just doing multiple cuts to get through the chipboard. Holding down with my opposite hand, I'm holding down nice and tight onto the ruler until I get through the chipboard cover. All right. Now you see, I got a little bit inside of that line, that's fine. And if I look, I can see if I lift it up, I'm not quite through it yet. So what do? I just put it back down and continue the process on the other 4 sides. All right, see what happened there? I went a little bit too quickly and I moved the blade, but that's okay. I cut right there inside the edge of the ruler, but that's okay because this is going to get cut out. That's why you always want to cover the good part of your artwork with the ruler so that if it does go off, it doesn't cut the artwork, in this case the frame, and it cuts the centerpiece, which is going to be removed. Okay? So I'm not quite through that side. I got to go a little bit more. All right, so I'm through all 4 sides. Now if I flip it over, I can look and see there's some areas in the corners. Those are usually the spots that don't always get through. So what I can do is, again, I keep my fingers out of the way. And if I flip it over like this, I can just follow along each of the cut lines and get through that last little bit. I don't necessarily need the ruler because I've got the overall lines. You see what that did? It just released the corner. And that gives me my opening. So now we've got to do one more step in order to finish this up, right? Because this would be the back cover, this would be my front cover, and I want my photo to be in here, either vertical photo or horizontal photo. But if you watch, right, if I take a look in here, you see the opening, and you see that the photo, 4x6 photo, is a little bit wider than the opening. So that way, when I lay it down and tape it, when I flip it over, I'm going to have a nice, clean 4x6 photograph window on my cover of my journal.